at you. You look amazing.
Uh, oh, thank you, man. Thanks so much for taking the time, bro. Actually, let me close my door real quick for a second. Uh, all right.
My God. Amazing, like always. It's such an
Hey,
honor
thank you.
to have you, Kern. And I don't know your story, but I know that you are influential. People respect you. Musicians respect you. I see industry people respect you. I love your music. I love your performances. I love your multilingual renditions. And I have performed with you. You have played guitars with me, sang a couple of times
Yeah,
with me, and
yeah,
you just an absolute joy to witness performing. And you're a gem of a person, and your interpersonal relations are highly connected, and you are people are drawn to you. I see people really confide in you, when we are performing at Brooklyn Music Kitchen. So tell me the story, tell me the charisma, the enigma. Tell me everything.
wow, what an intro. First of all, thank you so much for all that, all those kind words, and the opportunity also to to be here on this platform with you to share my story, I guess. Let me see, where would I start? Um, it's like how far back do I go,
Uh,
right?
start start from your childhood.
Yeah, okay. So I grew up in Haiti in church.
Mhm.
My first experience with music was basically sitting all the way to the front. I remember right side. That's where the music was, where the musicians were stationed at that particular church. And I grew up just remembering being so, honed in and paying attention, looking at what all the different musicians are doing, and just kind of like looking forward to getting older and being able to do any of that. And finally, I think 2000 or 2001, my dad was living in the US by then, had sent my oldest brother a guitar and my second older brother a piano, keyboard. So at first, it was just new toys, so they were not really letting my younger brother and I any chance to touch these instruments. But then ultimately, they just got tired of them because they didn't really know how to play that much themselves.
Right.
So they now that they were available to us, my younger brother and I would just basically kind of pick them up. Actually, I recall my oldest brother calling me one day, be like, "Hey, can you try to listen to this Redemption song?" Is one of them. Like, hey, can you try to play it? And
Mhm.
at that point, that's really this is a guitar. Wait, that's not that guitar. The other guitar is right here. My dad had sent. We literally only had one string in there,
Mhm.
and I tried to play Redemption song on it, play No Man No Cry on it, just that one string.
Mhm.
And of course, it was quite tough because you can play an entire song on just one string, especially if you don't really know what you're doing.
Mhm.
But my oldest brother really encouraged me with that. And then on the keyboard, I tried to figure out some stuff as well. Because at that point, my younger brother was already more um, skilled because
Mhm.
he had spent some more time trying to figure it out. So then I tried to learn some stuff on the keyboard and then translate that onto the guitar so it
Mhm.
could make sense.
Mhm.
And a neighbor called um, Gilbert, he used to once in a while stop at my house to use my mom's sewing machine. At that
Mhm.
point, my mom was a seamstress.
Mhm.
She so while he was there, he saw me just struggling with that one string. No man, no cry. He was like, "Oh, that's all you know. Do you have the other strings?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know how to use them, so I removed them."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, okay, go ahead, bring them back to me. I'll just put them on
Okay.
and teach you a little something."
Okay.
So he taught me what you call finger picking. That's just basically the bare minimum with the right hand.
Right.
and then a couple of chords. So
Right.
then once it started making sense, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I would listen to the radio and try to figure out where on the guitar the song is being played so I could try to play along,
Hmm.
which was quite tough, of course. And then from there, I went back into the keyboard because it was a little bit easier to seeing the. I had learned by that point the basic of music theory, so try to play the C scale, for example, on the guitar, try to figure it out, and then we were just kind of like going back and forth between one and the other to try to make sense of it all.
Hmm.
And then ultimately, I got better. I started to play a couple of songs,
Right.
and my first time playing on stage,
Hmm.
I was passing by I was on my way to school in Haiti. I think at that point, middle school or high school. Anyways, the
Hmm.
some lady was inviting us
Okay.
to this open mic,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, really cool. Can I bring my guitar? I'm
Hmm.
just playing around."
Yeah.
She's like, "You play the guitar?"
Yeah.
Yes, of course, you should.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, should." I didn't really think about it,
Hmm.
but I'm like, "Hey, I'm excited. I get to be on the stage. Play the guitar, so let's go."
Right.
So my dad has sent a CD. It's this Christian singer called Jeremy Kemp.
Okay.
I had learned how to play that a couple of songs from there. So my thought process was like, nobody understands English. So if I sing anything, nobody can know when I mess up, and they
Right.
don't know the song, so they can't see whether I messed up or not. So
Right.
I'm gonna do one of those songs.
Uh-huh.
And I prepared that song. I had already played it before, but I was like, prepared it more intentionally.
Right.
And then Friday came. It was on a Friday. It came, I got that guitar. I went to school. I didn't even have a case for it. The entire day, people were like, "Yo, you play the guitar? Can you play me a song? Play me a song."
Right.
I played No One No Cry, Redemption Song. This is the few songs that I know.
Uh-huh.
And then it was a time, so we went to the open mic. It was an actual stage,
Hmm.
and I was just like, "Oh wow! Like I'm already here. I already put my name down. I guess I'm gonna have to do something."
Hmm.
And again, I still didn't really think about what it meant to be on the stage.
Right.
And then, okay, it was my time. They called me up. I got on the stage. Then I was like, oh, shoot. Because, with those bright lights in your eyes, you can barely see the eyes of the audience.
Hmm.
So it's like, wow, I'm already here. Like, shoot. I was playing around. I wasn't really ready for this. Like, am I actually going to go through with it?
Hmm.
So, that's when all the stress came in. My fingers got sweaty. I
Right.
was using this little plastic as a pick.
Right.
Um, so the guitar was not mic'd,
Right.
which made it tough because I'm mic'd, you know,
Hmm.
for the vocal, but the guitar is not mic'd. So I try to play. I know that I'm not hearing the guitar as much.
Right.
So then, just not balanced. So I'm freaking out at that point.
Hmm.
Finger got so sweaty that the pick fell inside of the guitar.
Oh, wow.
Yo, yes. At that point, I
Okay.
felt it's almost like somebody poured a bucket of hot water on my head, and I
Yes.
could feel it going all the way down
Right.
to my feet.
Right.
I was like, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, you know what? Okay. And a lot of the kids from that school, they would make fun of you like hardcore.
Right.
So I'm just basically waiting for the moment that one person start laughing and then everybody else start laughing and I was just gonna run in shame. But I
Right.
said to myself, you know what? I'm already here. I don't care. I'm not getting paid for this. I
Right.
came to have some fun. I'm
Right.
just gonna do my part.
Right.
Whatever happens after that, it's their business.
Right.
So I just like kind of swallowed,
Yeah.
everything that was in my neck or throat, and then I just went ahead and kept singing.
Hmm.
Finished singing. That quiet moment. It's
Hmm.
like you get up the stage and nobody's saying a word, and
Right.
I'm like, are they about to laugh?
Yes.
And I'm just like waiting for it. And I just
Mhm.
went to sit down,
Yeah.
and the host got on the mic. She was just like, "Wow, that was so great! Let's give it up for Kern." I was just like,
Uh,
"Wait, they're not laughing at me? That's unbelievable!" And
right.
to me, like, I was so shy
Right.
that I would enter a room.
Hmm.
If everybody was sitting down,
Hmm.
I would not. I would panic. Like that's how shy I was.
Right.
Even at church when I would
Right.
get there, I would
Mhm.
wait for everybody to stand up, say for a prayer or whatever, to walk because I just could not tolerate everybody's eyes on me. But at that moment, I was like, I guess it was nice and got to share my music with people. So why not? And that's basically where my musical, I guess, the musical journey started for me. And fast forward to coming to the US, I found different open mics, different places. So they would invite me, and then I would just like share whatever songs that I had in the repertoire.
Right.
And just, yeah, I mean, it still is a great thing. I just love to, the opportunity to just get on the stage and just connect with people.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, you mentioned that you were shy and you were waiting for
Yeah.
the applause or laughter, so to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I still see that humility and your gentlemanly aspect,
Thank
but
you.
you're so smooth. I mean, of course,
Thank you.
from your your room in the background to your style and your performance, everything is very artistic, and
Thank you.
yeah, but now from the point where your pick dropped in your guitar and
Hmm.
to the point where now and you have
Yeah.
this signature style where you put your hand back, and tell the
Yeah.
band to stop and the band
Yeah.
stops, you know
Yeah.
so that's a long journey.
Yes.
Tell me
Yes.
what happened in between.
Uh Man, a lot happened. So I mean, you talked about the background. I'm an artist, like
Yes.
multimedia artist.
Yes.
That might explain why. Where is it? This side here, you see these drawings I made with charcoal.
Yeah.
So before music, I discovered that I was okay at drawing.
Okay.
And again, even though being a perfectionist, and I was trying my best to make it be perfect, but some students, I think I was probably, I don't know, maybe fourth, fifth grade, like really young. Some student was like, "Oh, look at the drawing! Like this is really nice. Can you do mine for me?" Because every Friday we had drawing class, so I would draw for the drawings for the other students, so that everybody can have good grades. That's actually the first kind of gig that I had in life, just like doing the little drawings for the other students and get like one good, which is I guess equivalent of $1, but not really,
Hmm.
in Haitian currency.
Hmm.
Um, but so the reason I'm talking about that is till right now, my life is like whenever I have to talk about one, it's hard to not talk about the other because to me they are all interconnected,
Hmm.
which is why I ended up going to MassArt in Boston, majoring in studio for interrelated media, which is
Hmm.
basically multimedia.
Yeah.
Because I see the world that's interconnected, like everything is interconnected, and
Right.
thus, um, as a person and as a creative, I like to explore the different avenues in which I can bring about a message,
Hmm.
because music and arts like a form of a language,
Hmm.
and even like speaking English with each other, we may assume that I might assume that you understand what I'm saying just because you speak English and I speak English, but using musical terms, if you're not a musician,
Right.
you won't really get that. And even like where I'm from, in Haiti, and even like my Christian upbringing, all of that may add so much intricacy to um to the language,
Hmm.
and yet and thus basically makes it quite challenging for us to truly understand
Right.
what we're trying to say to each other, and what I want you to understand, and what you actually do understand, what you think you understand, and all that.
Right.
um and that's why I love to explore all the different forms of media to see how I can truly express what I want to express, but also making sure that you do understand what it is that I'm trying to express.
Right.
So then, I just kind of do that little, I guess, overview for you so you can see where I'm coming from. So
Hmm.
I talked about the visual arts. Again, that was when I was much little, but then I didn't really have a lot of art supplies to um, explore that further. So I kind of stopped for some time. But
Hmm.
then when I came to the US in Boston, that's 2006,
Okay.
I was blessed to have the opportunity to go to a class again. And then eventually I got connected
Hmm.
with the Art Institute of Boston while I was still in high school. That's a university. So I was
Hmm.
taking a summer course. So I had the opportunity to discover other forms of arts. And
Hmm.
that's when actually I got into drawing, like charcoal drawings,
Hmm.
and a little bit of paint as well.
Hmm.
Um, so then during that time, I wasn't really doing too much music outside of just basically open mics and play music at church. Or actually, that's something I guess I should talk about because you might find a lot of that in my
Hmm.
music practice.
Okay.
So when I came to the US and I continued to learn more, like for example, I learned I didn't have an electric guitar,
Hmm.
which kind of helped me to discover other forms of music.
Right.
And then I started play at some small Haitian church
Hmm.
in Marin. Again,
Hmm.
that's in Dorchester slash Boston.
Hmm.
And that really, how could I say that? That really impacted my music making in the aspect of like live performances.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you ever been to a church, but like in especially small churches, because they don't really have the infrastructure to have like the band practice,
Hmm.
and have great singers.
Yeah.
So I usually basically show up to church, and whoever's singing, you don't know who that is, and then they start singing, and then you just basically have to catch up. And
Right.
sometimes they're not that good, right?
Okay.
They start singing, and then they like go off tone, and then you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay. So then you try
Yeah.
to catch up where they are. So then that really helped me to learn on the fly,
Okay.
like not assume that everything's gonna go. And that's why, talking back to the Brooklyn Music Kitchen, I love the aspect of just I don't even send them the song. I'm
Yeah.
just like, yo, catch up, bro. Like
Yes.
this is church,
Yes.
right? Let me start singing.
That's
Like, let
right.
me see what you're gonna do, because that's
That-
what I have to do.
That's right.
I feel like it's so precious
It
because
is. It is
like
better than
you,
sex.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Once a week.
Close second. Yes.
You know?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's a quote: "Men plan and God laughs." Like
Yes.
you plan to do certain things, and ideally, things that you try to do will happen exactly as you plan them to be.
Yes.
But most of the time, does not. Like you can get sick, you can die.
Mhm.
So if you're able to adapt pretty
Mhm.
quickly,
Mhm.
you you're almost invincible, you know.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think that's the beauty in like playing music at church got me. And I think some of the best musicians of the world have been church musicians.
That's right.
And now having seen what I've seen, I think the major part of it is that ability to quickly adapt to whatever that's happening,
That's right.
but also you're not doing it for you,
Right.
right? Although a lot of church musicians tend to like, yeah, look at me, I'm so great at this solo.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm not the best musician. I
Okay.
know that. I don't practice.
Mhm.
That's true.
Mhm.
Therefore, my skill level definitely could have been so great, but I love that aspect of we're doing it for a greater purpose,
That's right.
right? Like, first of all, in the context of church music, is to
Spiritual.
bring the people to God, like create that environment. But again, I don't know who's watching may not be religious.
Mhm.
Even outside of that, I think there's something quite spiritual.
Yes.
I'm talking about outside of religion, right? Like that, like about music, people getting together, singing along, playing along. That is just like so uplifting.
Yes.
Like biologically, I think I ain't no scientist, but I think you could probably just read a lot of research and find that a lot of the different sing along, the communal practices adds value to longevity, to
It
life, to
is. It
healing,
does. It
to
does.
etc. Right?
It does.
Um, and thank you for supporting that because
Yes.
again, I know like I feel it, I've
No,
seen
no,
it,
no.
but it's
The
like
other
I'm
the
a
other day,
scientist.
last Wednesday, I was speaking to the sound engineer at Brooklyn Music Kitchen, and I just off the
Yeah.
cuff told him that I've been studying all these areas where you mentioned about
Hmm.
adaptability because not only just music,
Hmm.
if you are adaptable to the universe, I'm going
Hmm.
very very deep,
Yeah.
uh, and what's the universe throwing towards you. And if you're
Hmm.
adaptable and you're able to use that and utilize that, you literally
Yeah.
become invincible. Not only in musical terms, you literally become invincible
Yeah.
because, uh, like you said, as musicians or human beings, we want to orchestrate things, we want to
Right.
meditate thing, we want to arrange thing, we want things to be
Yeah.
certain way. I was just speaking with my friend, fellow comedian Snipes, and he is a worker from Los Angeles with roots in Hollywood and comedy and performance, and he wants everything is specific certain way.
Right.
Tell him no, no, let's
Yeah.
concentrate on the content, on the substance of, let's go to the core.
Right.
Forget about all these status quo,
Right.
these things that discourage you from, these are side things, let's get to the bottom of the thing.
Right.
So
Indeed.
I what I told him was that, uh, and right now I I'm not a religious person, but
Mhm.
what I firmly believe is, and it's like way too far, but I believe, although I'm not a believer, uh,
Yeah.
uh, I think that the only thing real in this world is music.
Hmm.
Else is a simulation.
Hmm.
And because music
Hmm.
is the only thing, like Bob Marley said, is you don't feel hurt when it hits you. And
Right.
and the word you used,
Right.
biology, it
Right.
actually, it's metaphysical. When music
Right.
hits us,
Right.
not just ears, it's the five senses. And
Indeed.
yeah, and also it hits with our body, it affects our brain and heart, and then become hormonal, and it changes
Right.
behavior. Like, for example, you talked about
Yes.
church. I've been to churches all over the world,
Hmm.
especially in Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan, so the Christian community over there is the one who's active in music, because
Mm.
there are some predispositions in Islam where they say that, there's music and all these things. There are some dogmas and stigmas attached to it.
Yeah.
So, and I've been to churches in Europe, in Asia, and
Yeah.
uh, of course, but and you said that at times they are very bad, but at
Hmm.
times, I one time I was passing by a
Yeah.
church, a very, like the small church that you're saying, where, or maybe there
Yeah.
are this practice room, or is a very small communion,
Yeah.
and I heard those gospel singers, and
Mm.
I had not never heard anything of those frequencies, and,
Yes. Yes.
and a person could convert to Christianity right away. Similarly,
Yes.
similarly, I'm not sure if you heard about a singer called Fateh Ali Khan, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan.
No, not yet.
You should check
Yeah.
him out. And
I will.
yeah, he is an amazing musician from Pakistan. And
Mm.
his music was in Passion of Christ, Last Temptation of Christ. And
Okay.
yeah, and he's admired by Peter Gabriel, and considered one of the great singers. So
Okay. I'll check him out.
yeah, he was a motivational singer, in Islamic motivational singer, a Sufi music,
Hmm.
a Qawwali sort of,
Hmm.
so it's like a music genre. So
Right.
and he used to convert a lot of people to Islam as well. So music has
Hmm.
kind of impact.
Yes.
So yeah,
Indeed.
what I was saying was that, so tell me, how many instruments do you play?
Yeah, so good question, and thank you so much for sharing all that background. By the way, no, it's quite powerful, and I totally believe it to be true. And even before I get deeper into your question,
Yeah.
a lot of people talk about how I guess they suppose that people that listen to gangster rap music, it contributes to a lot of those people being more violent later on. Again, I think there's much more than that to
Yeah.
it, but part of it may be true,
Hmm.
because like there's something about like listening to some music that just kind of like takes over. It makes you, it kind of stays in you for a little bit longer. So then if the music is all uplifting, like you listen to some classical and some jazz, all of a sudden it doesn't matter anymore. Whatever you were dealing with, even gospel music, doing
Right.
that as well. Like
Right.
whatever it is that you are processing, it's like all of a sudden I'm such in a great spirit that, whatever it is that was giving problems does not matter anymore. But then flip side, you listen to something that's just like, yo, kill this mofo, and etc. Like all of a sudden, like and I'm just,
Yeah,
even if you're driving, you're listening to some hardcore, even like
heavy
what
metal,
to call that music,
heavy metal.
rock and roll, yes, heavy metal.
Yeah,
All of a sudden, you just want to kill somebody. It's like, get out of my way, let's go,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
etc. So, anyways,
No, no, no.
um,
Let me add a little bit to this. I totally agree
yeah,
with you because the reason I made such a big statement that everything else is a simulation is because I'm
yeah,
studying consciousness these days a lot,
yeah,
and its various manifestations and various scientists and scholars and experimental people, and I studied occult as well, in terms of belief and discovery and things like that. So
interesting, yeah,
yeah, so I agree with you in this, and I say that because we are nothing but our subconscious, you know
hmm
we are
hmm
everything, what's happening in our daily lives, it's all subconscious.
hmm
Create a backdrop
yeah,
and we follow based on that.
right,
That's one thing. Number two, when it comes to when you mention the effect that it has on us,
yeah.
my one of my ex used to say that you listen to Metallica and you listen to grunge and that's why you're so angry. So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, but
It is some
on the
classical music, right?
yes, but on the contrary, one of the research it says
Yeah.
that people who are into pop or hip hop music are more radical as compared to heavy metal people because they are addressing that aspect of their personality. Well, for example, if it's death metal or heavy metal, they they attend or they follow,
Mm,
they compile that aspect of their personality and they move on. Then they're and I've met very many people who are into heavy metal and very cool people. For example, I'll just give you an example. I've been to Iron Maiden, I've been to Deep Purple, I've been to many heavy metal concerts and never got physically or violently threatened. But
mm,
I went to David Guetta the other day in Mirage in Brooklyn, and it was a nightmare. And he's supposed to be, DJ, and it
mm.
was people, pushing you around. And I mean, uh,
Wow.
I went to Rage Against the Machine, and there was a mosh pit, and people were jumping, and in the middle, they created this
Yeah.
area, like all the heavy
Yeah.
metal music.
Yes.
And that's that. Nobody gets hurt, nothing happens.
Yeah.
But in this David Guetta thing, where it's supposed to be, dance music, there
Yeah.
was mayhem, and I had to call security several times and get
Wow.
removed and whatever to avoid anything bigger.
Right. Right.
So, like there is good and bad to it as well. How
Of
you look at
course.
it.
Yes.
But I do agree with you that it's all subconscious, and the reason radio can never go irrelevant because music is something that you hear when you are doing other things.
Right.
You know,
True.
you
Yeah, I'd
know.
be in the background. Yeah.
So it's like a smell, it's not conscious. If you're eating at fast food, if they put faster music, you start eating fast, you know
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yes,
The
music has
the
that kind of effect on us because for comedy you have to listen to comedy, for film you
right.
have to watch the film, but for
Yes.
music, it's a soundtrack of life, like
Yes. Yeah.
said by one of the great guitarists, forgot his name. Anyway, so yeah, so carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, I love everything that you were adding there, especially that last bit about the music is just a soundtrack. It makes you think of how like there are certain songs once you hear it, it's not like you care about that song per se,
Mhm.
but just that when you listen to it, maybe the first time or the first couple of times, you are at this particular stage of your life, and somehow it brings you back,
Oh wow, yeah,
right? It's
memory
like,
flashback.
oh, right,
Yeah,
right. You
yes,
feeling nostalgic, and it's like, why?
yes.
I don't really care about this artist. Like, what's his name again? You know that song, No Matter What I Do. What's the name again? Neil. I forget the name of that guy.
Neil Young,
But
Neil Diamond,
no, no, no. The song's name is Dilemma, but I forget the name of the guy. But whatever that name.
Yeah, yeah.
When I listened to that song, I was like in I think seventh or eighth grade. So
Uh-huh.
whenever I hear it now, I'm like, oh, it takes me back to those days when I was just like walking
Right,
around and just
right,
things.
right, right.
But I don't care about the song. I don't even know the full shit. I can't even remember the name of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
artist.
yeah.
So that's how much I don't really so much care about it. But that song brings me back to this particular
Mhm,
moment. You
mhm.
know, some Bob Marley songs take me to this moment, like Redemption song when my brother was like, "Hey, try to learn it," or Buju Banton,
So,
you know,
bro,
try to,
bro, this is
you
time
know.
travel.
I'm
About
sorry.
physics. This is time.
Oh yes, yes, yes. I guess we have like 40 minutes
No, no,
because
no,
I
no,
have the
no, 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 no. I'm saying this is time travel.
oh time travel. Okay,
We
sorry. I thought you
cannot,
were
we
talking about
cannot,
like the time
yeah.
recording.
No, no, we
Yes,
cannot transport
yes,
physically. We cannot. So this
yes.
is time travel.
It is. It is indeed.
The
You
other
know.
day I was with this friend of mine and she said, "Can you please change the song?" I said, "No, it's a great song." He said, "No,
Yeah.
it reminds me of one of my, heartaches,
X's.
my ex."
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Triggers.
yeah,
Yes.
so you are transported,
Indeed.
it's teleportation, into that time.
That
So,
moment. That's
yeah.
it.
So,
That's it.
yeah, because if we think that everything is consciousness, then this is time travel.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Which is a good segue to how I like to do music and why I do music.
Mhm.
I love to create an experience,
Right.
right? It's not about like, hey, look at Kern playing the guitar.
Mhm.
Kern doesn't practice.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't practice, so he's not the best. He's not even average. Right? He just
No, no, you're
does
great.
what he
You
does.
play,
You know
you
what I
play.
mean?
I just called you one day. Can you please help me out because I'm playing piano? Can you play guitar? And you just played it perfectly. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. But the thought that one day the different people that are there will hear this particular song again and be remember and remember this moment. You
Mhm.
know, when they were with their loved ones, with those friends, and etc., and bring this back to this lovely moment. You know how like I love to just cut the music and then have the audience sing along. To
Mhm.
me, that's like church. You know,
Right.
it's always beautiful, whether it is at church or whether it's in the audience. The best time for me for music is when there's no music and it's just the audience singing along. Because at that point, it's like there's no show off anymore. Like it's not about me. It's not even about you.
Mhm.
It's like yo, like feel this moment right now. Like
Mhm.
this is so beautiful, man.
So, so tell me how many languages you speak and how many languages you sing in.
So being in Haiti, you speak Haitian Creole. That's the main language. But then once you go to school, everything is in French.
Yeah.
So the books are in French, radio, etc. So we speak French as well. And also Haiti is almost like they're preparing you to get you out of the country.
Right,
So
right.
they're like, all right, you should learn Spanish and English.
Okay.
Because from like seventh grade, we take Spanish and English classes. But then ultimately you can choose between one of them.
Okay.
But it's for long enough. And because also my ex wife and
Mhm.
son also they
Mhm.
are in France. So
Mhm.
I get to practice French almost
Right.
every day,
Mhm.
which helps a lot. And last year, my job was as a case manager supervisor in a shelter for the asylum seekers.
Mhm.
So most of my clients were Spanish speakers from like say Venezuela, Colombia, etc. So I got to practice the Spanish a lot more, which kind of makes it sound like I speak a lot more Spanish than that.
Right.
Therefore, I sing in those different languages as well.
And
And earlier you had asked me what instruments do I play, so I guess it could be kind of
yeah, yeah,
connected.
yeah.
So I started with the guitar and the keyboard,
Mhm.
and ultimately, when I got to that church, they didn't have a bass player,
Mhm.
or the bass player would come very late and not really play until he likes the music. And then I'm like, you know what, forget him. One day
Okay.
the bass was there.
Mhm.
I kind of translated what I knew on the lower strings of the
Right.
bass,
Yeah.
and just like, oh yeah, I guess I can
Then
kind
the
of
one
figure it
string
out.
came handy, huh? The
You
one
know what
string
I
came
mean?
handy.
Yes. I never thought of it like that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got in the bass. And then my younger brother and I, so we'd be switching. And then one day again, we didn't have anyone playing the drums. So
Okay.
little by little, I tried to figure it out. So those four instruments
Yeah.
are the ones that I play the most.
Mhm.
But the saxophone is my favorite instrument.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I had one that got stolen, so I don't really get to practice that much. So I only know one scale. So
Okay.
I try to play around with it. But I always say the day that I play the sax, like say the keyboard, I'm not gonna touch any other instruments.
Okay. Perfect.
That's how much I love it.
Now we got
Yeah.
5 minutes and give me a quite quick wrap of your acting career and how many languages have you acted in already?
So for the acting, so let's take it quickly back to mass art because at
Mhm.
mass art, I was like, I don't really know whether I should go into music school, photography school. I did that sometime as well, or drawing. So I didn't want to separate them. I wanted to just bring them together. So there's this great program at mass art called Studio for Interrelated Media, which is what I got into. So I ended up taking a few performance arts classes, which is basically improv class,
Okay.
which relates to the music improv
Yes.
aspect of it at playing at
Comedy. Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I just love the aspect of I don't know what's happening, but let me just yes end the situation and figure it out. So a couple of classes there, and then a good friend of mine who was an actor in LA, I was running lines for him, so
Mhm.
basically off camera.
Right.
And one day he's like, "Yo, you got an actor head. Like you should just
Yeah. Yeah.
start doing it." I was like, "Well, I'm
And
already
you're
doing
good looking
performance
as well, right?
arts.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It makes sense."
Yeah.
Which is actually why I moved to Brooklyn
Mhm.
because in Boston there was not really a lot of acting opportunities, anything going on. So
Yeah.
in New York, I thought that it was just the best place that has everything, the music, the acting, etc.
That's right.
So then to your question for
Mhm.
acting, so far it's been only in Haitian Creole and English.
Okay.
And Haitian Creole was a couple of short Haitian films I played
Because
in.
I would love to see you act in French, because I'm a
Uh,
big fan of French cinema, and
yeah, yeah.
and you have
Okay.
that perfect appeal and look for
Oh,
French movies.
thank you, thank you.
Because I was curious that that you have
Yeah.
already done something in French.
Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. I did sign up for some French breakdowns. That's like
Mhm.
basically acting roles
Mhm.
in France.
Mhm.
But whenever I go there, it's like for about 2 weeks,
Right.
and I'm just like spending
Okay.
time with my son. So I haven't really taken the time to actually
Right.
do that. But there's a short film I'm working on
Okay.
called 7 Days Left.
Mhm.
In it, part of it is like happens in France, and I think I'm gonna be including some French speaking in there.
Wow.
So hopefully by the end of next year, I'll get started with the full thing, and
Right.
there'll be some Haitian crew in there as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I'd love the opportunity to
Yes.
act
And they would, I mean,
in
I'm
different
sure
roles.
they,
Yeah.
they just don't know, and because they would love to have you as well, because
Yes.
because
Yeah. Thank
uh,
you.
you know uh,
Yeah.
uh, you have, you can, the look that you have, you can cover a wide
Yeah.
variety of roles, and not only
Yes.
in French as
Right.
well, but also in Spain as well, and Spanish as well, uh,
Yes. Yes.
Latin as well, so you can cover a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Yeah. And
Indeed.
and because
Yeah.
you have a look of character look as well,
Yeah.
so you
Thank
can,
you. Thank you.
and of course, now every actor has,
Yeah.
some level of improv involved, like
Yeah.
Seth Rogen and James Franco. They all,
Yeah.
it's mandatory for them to, and there is a huge, if you, I mean, you already know the improv studio on Hollywood, on the Sunset Boulevard in
Oh, I don't know that one.
yeah, yeah, it's a huge, yeah,
Yeah.
improv.
Oh, you feel like the stand-up comedy spot?
No, no, improv studio.
Oh, no, I'm not
Yeah,
familiar with it. So we
yeah,
should
yeah,
talk about that. If you
yeah,
could
yeah,
send
yeah,
me that.
yeah.
One thing I'll say real quick though before we end is there's a recurring gig that I've been playing in called Dinner Detective.
Okay.
And it's scripted, but it's a murder mystery show where the
Uh-huh.
audience takes part of it. So
Yeah.
I'm usually the detective.
Mhm.
So that's something that's been really fun that involves a lot of improvisation. Maybe one of these days I'll let you know next time I get to play
Sure.
it.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to,
So we
because
can pull up.
I'm a stand-up
Yeah.
comedian, so I want to learn improv, because at the end of the day now, since everything is moving towards YouTube and video on demand, so it's
Yeah.
the dramatic effect that matters, and even if you are saying the lines in your own way, but you are creating
Yes.
impact, then it's all done.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
only a minute left. Uh,
Yes.
let's wrap it up. Tell me what your plans are. What are you doing and upcoming things?
Well, that's a 7 days less short film.
Okay.
Trying to make some money to get some money together to maybe get started later this year.
Sure.
I am so from the short film, I'm gonna let people know that I'm opening an art gallery, which is a multi-sensorial gallery,
Uh-huh.
reaching out to just basically everybody from different senses, like whether you can basically whatever limitations or not. You have, I want to create that experience.
Mhm.
That's that. And then